Most people want a better life, but very few stop long enough to learn how to become the kind of person who can build one. They stay busy, they stay distracted, they repeat the same days and wonder why nothing changes. But real change begins with a different way of thinking, choosing, speaking, and acting. In this audiobook, you are going to learn what it truly means to become an effective person in daily life, not just successful for a moment, not just motivated for a week, effective in a steady and lasting way. You will learn how to choose what matters, build discipline, stay calm under pressure, communicate with honesty, and grow through daily action. This is not about perfection, it is about becoming stronger, more focused, more responsible, and more dependable with each day. It is about waking up with purpose, making better decisions, and living in a way that brings real progress. If you have ever felt stuck, scattered, or unsure of your next step, stay with this audiobook. The ideas ahead are simple, practical, and deeply useful. They are meant to help you think clearly, act wisely, and build a life you can respect. What comes next may change the way you see yourself and the way you live every single day. Chapter 1. Choose meaningful priorities that create lasting results every single day. An effective person does not begin each day by asking what feels urgent. They begin by asking what matters. That difference changes everything. Urgent things pull at your attention. They create noise. They make you feel busy. But meaningful priorities shape your future. They build a life that has order, strength, and direction. When you learn to choose what matters most each day, you stop living by pressure and start living by purpose. Many people move through life reacting to whatever appears in front of them. They answer messages the moment they arrive. They accept every request. They spend their energy on tasks that look important but produce little real progress. At the end of the day, they feel tired and empty. They worked hard but moved very little. This is one of the clearest signs that a person is not yet effective. They are active, but they are not directed. They are moving, but they are not improving. A meaningful life does not come from constant motion. It comes from clear priorities carried out with steady discipline. To become effective, you need to become honest with yourself about your time. Time is not equal to money because money can return. Time does not return. Every hour you use becomes part of your past. That is why you must treat your attention as something valuable. You must protect it. You must guide it. You must stop handing it away to anything that asks for it. When you choose meaningful priorities, you decide where your life is going before the world tries to decide for you. A useful place to begin is this simple question. What are the few things that will truly matter when this day ends? Not the things that will create noise, not the things that will impress people for a moment, the things that will bring real progress. For one person, that may mean completing an important task at work. For another, it may mean keeping a calm and patient attitude with family. For another, it may mean taking care of health, finishing study, or making one honest decision that has been delayed too long. Effective people do not confuse activity with value. They look for the work that carries weight. Each morning should begin with intention, before the messages, before the calls, before the rush. Take a few quiet minutes and name the 3 most important things that deserve your best effort today. Not 10, not 20, 3. This creates focus. It gives the mind a clear path. It reduces confusion. Many people fail because they try to carry too much in their head. They do not need more pressure. They need more clarity. When you write down your priorities, you remove guesswork. You stop depending on memory and mood. You begin with direction. A person with clear priorities does not wait for motivation to appear. They act according to what they have already decided. That is a powerful change. Motivation is unstable. It rises and falls. It changes with sleep, mood, weather, stress, and other people's opinions. Priorities are different. Priorities give you something stronger than motivation. They give you commitment. When you commit to what matters, you do what needs to be done even when it is uncomfortable. You do not need to feel ready before you begin. You begin because you already know why it matters. This is where many people struggle. They know what they should do, but they keep delaying it because it does not feel pleasant. They avoid the task that requires concentration. They choose easy comfort first. They tell themselves they will begin later when the day is calmer. But later often becomes never. Effective people understand that important work is often not easy work. It may be simple, but it can demand effort, patience, and discipline. That is why priorities matter. They help you choose the difficult thing before distractions can choose for you. You must also learn that every priority is a decision about what to leave out. A meaningful life is built not only by what you say yes to, but by what you refuse. If you say yes to everything, you are saying yes to confusion. You are allowing other people's needs to constantly replace your own direction. There is nothing noble about always being available. There is wisdom in knowing your limits. There is strength in protecting the time needed for your most important responsibilities. You are not being selfish when you guard what matters. You are being responsible. It helps to ask yourself a deeper question at the start of the day. What kind of person do I want to be by the end of this day? This question changes the way you choose. It moves you beyond tasks and into character. Maybe today you want to be a person who finishes what was started. Maybe you want to be patient instead of irritated. Maybe you want to be truthful instead of avoiding a hard conversation. Maybe you want to be steady instead of scattered. Effective people understand that daily choices are not separate from character. They are how character is built. Every priority you choose either strengthens who you are or weakens it. One of the biggest dangers in daily life is allowing small tasks to replace important ones. Small tasks are often easier. They feel safe. They give a quick sense of progress, but they can become a hiding place. You answer a few messages. You clean a corner of your desk. You arrange things that do not need arranging. The day feels productive, but the main task remains untouched. Effective people do not allow simple motion to replace meaningful work. They begin with the task that matters most, even if it is uncomfortable. They know the first hour often sets the tone for the rest of the day. A strong habit is to handle your highest priority before the day gets noisy. This might mean making the most important call before checking social media. It might mean studying before entertainment. It might mean solving a difficult matter before handling smaller ones. The exact task will differ from person to person, but the principle stays the same. Put your best attention on the thing that will make the biggest difference. Do not waste your strongest energy on the easiest item. Use your best energy where it counts. At the same time, meaningful priorities are not only about ambition, they are also about balance. A person can work hard and still be ineffective if they neglect health, rest, relationships, or inner peace. A life built only on achievement will eventually feel thin and unstable. You need priorities that protect the whole person. That means caring for your body. It means resting enough to think clearly. It means making time for the people who matter. It means protecting your mind from constant noise. It means staying honest about what you can truly carry. A wise person understands that effectiveness is not only about doing more, it is about living well. There is great value in learning to separate what is important from what is merely loud. The loudest problem is not always the real problem. The most urgent request is not always the most valuable one. The most visible task is not always the one that builds your future. Effective people learn to think before they react. They ask what will produce lasting value. They ask what deserves their best attention. They ask what can be delayed without harm and what cannot. This kind of thinking saves time, energy, and regret. If you want to grow in this area, begin keeping a simple daily list with only 3 major priorities. Put the hardest or most valuable task first. Finish it before moving to anything less important. At the end of the day, ask yourself whether your actions matched your priorities. This honest review matters. It shows you where your life is aligned and where it is drifting. You do not grow by pretending. You grow by seeing clearly. A person who reviews the day with honesty becomes stronger over time because they stop repeating the same mistakes without learning from them. You should also be careful about the language you use with yourself. Many people say they are too busy to focus on priorities. In truth, they are often busy with things they have not chosen carefully. Busyness can become an excuse. It can hide a lack of discipline. It can protect you from the discomfort of deep work. Be honest enough to admit when you are avoiding what matters. That kind of honesty is not harsh. It is useful. It gives you a chance to change. Another helpful practice is to connect each priority to a clear reason. Do not just say you need to finish a task. Say why it matters. Maybe it matters because it improves your future. Maybe it matters because others depend on you. Maybe it matters because your peace grows when unfinished work is removed. Reason gives strength to action. A person who knows why something matters is harder to discourage. They can stay steady when the work becomes demanding. They do not rely on shallow excitement. They rely on meaning. This is one reason many people fail to stay consistent. They begin with enthusiasm, but without clarity. When the excitement fades, they lose direction. A meaningful priority is different. It is not based only on feelings. It is based on values. Values are more stable than mood. If you value growth, honesty, service, health, and responsibility, your daily choices become easier to guide. You may still struggle at times, but you will know where to return. Values keep you from drifting too far. As you practice this, you will notice a quiet but important change. You will feel less divided. You will stop carrying so many unfinished thoughts. You will gain a sense of control that comes from doing one important thing at a time. That calm feeling is not weakness. It is strength. It means your mind is no longer being pulled in every direction. It means your life has a center. Effective people are not always the fastest. They are often the most focused. Their progress comes from deliberate action, not scattered effort. There will be days when your priorities are challenged. Someone will ask for your time. A sudden issue will appear. A plan will change. Life is not neat, but even then, you can remain effective by returning to the question of what matters most. Flexibility is not the enemy. Confusion is. You can adapt without losing direction. You can respond without abandoning your purpose. That is a mark of maturity. A mature person does not collapse when the schedule changes. They adjust with calm and keep moving toward what matters. When you truly value your priorities, your life begins to feel cleaner. There is less guilt because you know what you chose. There is less regret because you are not constantly acting against your own judgment. There is more peace because your actions start to match your beliefs. That alignment is powerful. It creates confidence. It creates self-respect. It creates trust. People around you notice when you live with purpose. They may not always say it, but they see the steadiness in you. They see that your word has weight because your actions have direction. So begin today. Not with a perfect plan, not with a grand promise. Begin with one clear decision. Decide what matters most. Put it before distraction. Protect it from noise. Give it your best energy. Repeat that tomorrow, then again the day after. This is how an effective person is built, not in one dramatic moment, but through repeated choices that honor what is important. A meaningful life is not found by accident. It is built by the daily act of choosing well. And when you are tempted to spend the day on things that feel easy but produce little value, pause and remember this. Your life becomes what you repeatedly prioritize. Every day is shaping you. Every decision is teaching your mind what to follow. Every hour is either moving you forward or pulling you away. Choose carefully. Choose steadily. Choose what lasts. That is how progress begins. That is how character grows. That is how an effective person lives. Chapter 2. Build disciplined habits that strengthen your character and daily actions. Every lasting achievement begins long before anyone notices it. It begins in the quiet moments when no one is watching. It begins with the small choices that seem ordinary at the time, but slowly shape the kind of person you become. A disciplined life is not created through occasional bursts of effort. It is created through habits that are repeated until they become part of your character. The goal is not simply to accomplish more tasks. The goal is to become someone who can be trusted to act with consistency, honesty, and purpose every single day. Many people believe discipline is something they either have or do not have. They look at successful people and assume they were born with unusual determination. The truth is much simpler. Discipline is learned, it is practiced. It grows stronger each time you keep a promise to yourself. It becomes weaker each time you ignore what you know you should do. Character follows the direction of your daily habits. You become what you repeatedly practice, not what you occasionally admire. The first habit to build is showing up when you said you would. This sounds simple, but it changes everything. If you tell yourself that you will wake up at a certain time, do it. If you decide to exercise, begin even if you do not feel energetic. If you plan to study for an hour, sit down and start. These actions teach your mind that your decisions have value. You stop negotiating with yourself every morning. You begin to trust your own word. Self-trust is one of the greatest strengths a person can develop. Without it, confidence becomes fragile. You hesitate because your past actions remind you of promises you failed to keep. When you consistently follow through, something powerful happens inside you. You stop wondering whether you are capable. You already know because your actions have proven it again and again. Many people wait until they feel inspired before taking action. This approach creates an unstable life because feelings change constantly. Some mornings you wake up excited, other mornings you feel tired, discouraged or distracted. If your actions depend on your emotions, your progress will always be uncertain. Discipline teaches a different lesson. It teaches you to act according to your values instead of your temporary feelings. You do what is right because it is right, not because it feels easy. One practical way to strengthen discipline is to make good habits easy to begin. If you want to read every day, place a book where you will see it. If you want to exercise, prepare your clothes the night before. If you want to eat healthier, fill your home with better food choices. Small preparations remove unnecessary obstacles. They make the right decision simpler when the moment arrives. The opposite is also true. Make harmful habits harder to reach. If your phone constantly steals your attention, place it in another room while you work. If late-night television keeps you awake, turn it off earlier and create a peaceful evening routine. Every environment influences behavior. Instead of relying only on willpower, shape your surroundings to support the person you are becoming. Patience is another habit that deserves careful attention. Growth often happens more slowly than expected. Many people become discouraged because they expect immediate results. They exercise for a week and expect dramatic changes. They study for a month and expect complete mastery. When progress feels slow, they quit. Effective people understand that meaningful improvement requires time. They continue because they value the process, not only the reward. Think about a craftsman who develops a skill over many years. Every day they practice the same basic movements. At first, the improvement is difficult to notice. Months later, the quality of their work becomes clear. Years later, their skill appears effortless. What seems natural to others is actually the result of thousands of disciplined actions repeated over time. Your character develops in the same way. Small daily decisions become lasting personal strength. Discipline also means finishing what you begin whenever possible. Many people are excited by new ideas but quickly lose interest when challenges appear. They move from one goal to another without completing anything meaningful. This creates frustration because unfinished work continues to occupy the mind. Completing important tasks brings a different feeling. It creates confidence, satisfaction, and momentum. Even small completed actions remind you that progress is possible. Another valuable habit is protecting your mornings. The way you begin the day often influences everything that follows. Instead of immediately reaching for your phone, spend the first few moments in quiet thought. Review your priorities, stretch your body, drink water, read something that strengthens your thinking. These simple actions prepare your mind before outside demands begin competing for your attention. Your evening matters just as much. Before going to sleep, spend a few minutes reviewing your day honestly. Ask yourself whether your actions reflected your values. Notice where you acted with courage and where you gave in to comfort. Do not judge yourself harshly. Simply observe with honesty. Honest reflection turns every day into a lesson. Without reflection, mistakes often repeat themselves because they remain unnoticed. One dangerous habit is making excuses. Excuses provide temporary comfort but permanent weakness. They shift responsibility away from your choices. It becomes easy to blame circumstances, difficult people, limited resources, or bad timing. While these challenges may be real, they do not remove your ability to choose your response. Strong character grows when you focus on what remains within your control, instead of complaining about what does not. This does not mean ignoring difficulties. Life brings genuine hardship. Plans fail. People disappoint you. Unexpected problems appear without warning. Discipline is not pretending these things do not exist. Discipline is refusing to let them decide your next action. You acknowledge reality, adjust wisely, and continue moving forward with steady effort. Gratitude also deserves a place among disciplined habits. Many people think gratitude is only an emotion. In reality, it can become a daily practice. Spend a few minutes noticing what is already good in your life. Appreciate your health, your opportunities, your family, your ability to learn, or simply another chance to improve. Gratitude protects the mind from constant dissatisfaction. It helps you work with greater energy because you recognize the value of what you already have. Respect for time is another mark of disciplined living. Every hour carries potential. Once it passes, it cannot be recovered. This truth should not create fear. It should create purpose. Use your time intentionally. Avoid filling empty moments with endless scrolling or meaningless entertainment. Rest is valuable, but unconscious distraction often leaves people feeling more tired instead of refreshed. Choose activities that restore your energy instead of draining it. Your words also become habits. Pay attention to how you speak about yourself. If you repeatedly say that you are lazy, unlucky, or incapable, your actions begin following those beliefs. Speak truthfully. Admit your weaknesses, but also recognize your ability to improve. Replace hopeless statements with honest determination. Tell yourself that you are learning. Tell yourself that you are becoming stronger through practice. Your inner conversation influences your daily behavior more than you realize. Surround yourself with people whose habits inspire growth. Character develops through repeated exposure. Spend enough time with disciplined people, and their standards begin influencing your own. Spend enough time around constant negativity, and discouragement slowly becomes familiar. Choose relationships that encourage honesty, responsibility, kindness, and continuous improvement. Do not compare your progress to someone else's journey. Every person begins from a different place. Some have advantages you never received. Others face challenges you cannot see. Comparison often creates either pride or discouragement. Neither helps you grow. Measure yourself against the person you were yesterday. If you are becoming more patient, more dependable, more focused, and more responsible, then your effort is producing real success. There will be days when your habits feel difficult to maintain. You may become tired, busy, or disappointed. These are the moments that matter most. Anyone can remain disciplined when life feels easy. Character is revealed when circumstances become uncomfortable. Continue anyway. Even if your effort feels smaller than usual, keep the habit alive. A short workout is better than no workout. Reading one page is better than reading none. A small step forward keeps your identity moving in the right direction. Remember that discipline is not about perfection. No person lives without mistakes. You will occasionally miss a day, make a poor decision, or lose focus. Do not allow one mistake to become an excuse for giving up completely. Learn from it immediately. Return to your routine without unnecessary guilt. Consistency grows stronger when recovery becomes faster. Celebrate progress without becoming satisfied too early. Appreciate how far you have come while remembering how much more you can become. Confidence should encourage humility rather than pride. Every new level of growth reveals another opportunity to improve. As your habits become stronger, people will begin noticing something different about you. They may not immediately recognize the specific reason. They will simply sense reliability. They will see someone who remains calm during difficulty, someone who keeps commitments, someone who follows through without constant reminders. This quiet reputation becomes more valuable than temporary praise because it is built on genuine character rather than appearance. An effective person is not defined by dramatic moments of success. They are defined by ordinary days lived with extraordinary consistency. Every disciplined choice becomes another brick in the foundation of a meaningful life. Every honest effort strengthens your ability to face future challenges with confidence. Every good habit becomes evidence that lasting change is possible. Your future character is being shaped today, not next month, not next year, right now. Every decision teaches your mind what kind of person you are becoming. Choose actions that make you stronger. Choose routines that make you dependable. Choose habits that reflect the values you want to live by. Over time, these daily choices will no longer feel like forced discipline. They will simply become who you are, and that quiet transformation is one of the greatest achievements any person can experience. Chapter 3. Master your thoughts to make wiser decisions under pressure. Pressure has a unique way of revealing the quality of your thinking. Anyone can make reasonable choices when life is calm, time is available, and nothing important is at risk. The true test comes when emotions become intense, unexpected problems appear, and every option seems difficult. In those moments, your mind either becomes your greatest strength or your greatest weakness. An effective person is not someone who never experiences pressure. An effective person learns how to think clearly while pressure is present. The human mind reacts quickly to uncertainty. When something unexpected happens, your first reaction is often emotional rather than thoughtful. You may feel fear, frustration, anger, or confusion before you fully understand the situation. This response is natural, but it should never become the foundation of your decisions. Emotions provide information, but they should not become your leader. Wisdom begins when you create enough space between what you feel and what you choose to do next. Many costly mistakes happen because people confuse speed with intelligence. They believe every problem requires an immediate response. They speak before understanding. They act before examining the facts. They make promises they cannot keep. They allow temporary emotions to create permanent consequences. A thoughtful person understands that a short pause can prevent years of regret. The ability to pause is one of the strongest mental skills you can develop. A pause is not weakness. It is self-control in action. It gives your mind time to separate facts from assumptions. It allows your emotions to settle enough for reason to become clear. Even a few quiet moments can completely change the quality of your next decision. When pressure rises, begin by asking yourself one simple question. What do I know for certain? This question protects you from reacting to guesses or fears. Under stress, the mind often fills missing information with negative assumptions. Someone does not answer your message, and you imagine rejection. A meeting goes poorly, and you assume your future is ruined. One unexpected expense appears, and you believe financial disaster is unavoidable. Most of these conclusions are created by fear rather than reality. Train yourself to separate facts from stories. Facts are objective. Stories are the explanations your mind creates before enough evidence exists. The more often you recognize this difference, the less likely you are to make decisions based on imagination instead of truth. Another important practice is learning to recognize your mental patterns. Every person has predictable ways of thinking during difficult situations. Some expect failure before they even begin. Others become defensive whenever they receive criticism. Some immediately blame themselves, while others blame everyone around them. These patterns often develop over many years, becoming so familiar that they feel normal. Yet familiar thinking is not always accurate thinking. Spend time observing your own reactions without judging yourself. Notice what happens when plans change unexpectedly. Notice how you respond when someone disagrees with you. Observe what thoughts appear when you face uncertainty. Awareness creates choice. You cannot improve patterns that remain invisible. An effective mind does not seek comfort before seeking truth. Sometimes the truth is encouraging. And sometimes it is difficult. Accepting reality exactly as it is allows you to make decisions that actually solve problems instead of avoiding them. Denial may reduce discomfort for a short time, but it always increases difficulty later. Honest thinking may feel uncomfortable in the beginning, yet it creates freedom because you begin working with reality rather than against it. One valuable habit is asking better questions. The quality of your answers depends on the quality of your questions. Instead of asking, "Why does this always happen to me?" ask, "What can this situation teach me?" Instead of asking, "Who is responsible for this problem?" ask, "What positive action is available to me right now?" These questions shift your attention away from helplessness and toward responsibility. Pressure often creates mental noise. Several thoughts compete for attention at once. Worries about the future mix with regrets about the past. Fear exaggerates possible dangers. Small problems begin appearing much larger than they truly are. During these moments, simplify your thinking. Focus on one issue at a time. Ask yourself what requires attention first. Solve one problem before moving to the next. A clear mind works through challenges step by step, instead of becoming overwhelmed by everything at once. Many people lose mental clarity because they constantly consume information without giving themselves time to think. Every free moment is filled with videos, news, conversations, or social media. Their minds become crowded with opinions, but rarely produce independent judgment. Wisdom requires quiet reflection. Your thoughts need space to develop. Spend time without constant stimulation. Walk without headphones. Sit quietly for a few minutes. Write your thoughts in a notebook. These simple habits strengthen your ability to think independently. Do not confuse overthinking with careful thinking. Overthinking circles around the same worries without creating solutions. Careful thinking moves steadily toward understanding and action. If you find yourself repeating the same fears without making progress, ask yourself whether you are analyzing or simply worrying. Worry drains energy. Careful reflection creates direction. There will be situations where no option feels perfect. Every choice carries some level of uncertainty. Waiting for complete certainty often leads to endless delay. Gather the available facts, consider your values, evaluate the possible outcomes, and then decide with confidence. Accept that no person can predict every consequence. Wisdom does not require perfect knowledge. It requires thoughtful judgment based on the best information currently available. The people you listen to also influence the quality of your thinking. Some individuals encourage wisdom, patience, and honesty. Others constantly spread fear, anger, or unnecessary drama. Protect your mind from voices that increase confusion without offering solutions. Choose mentors, books, and conversations that strengthen your ability to think clearly rather than react emotionally. Humility plays an important role in wise decision-making. Pride convinces people they already know enough. Humility remains willing to learn. A humble person asks questions, seeks advice when appropriate, and admits mistakes without seeing them as personal failure. This attitude keeps the mind flexible. Growth becomes possible because learning never stops. Your physical condition also affects your mental performance more than many people realize. Poor sleep, constant exhaustion, unhealthy eating habits, and lack of movement reduce your ability to think carefully. The brain functions best when the body receives proper care. Looking after your physical health is not separate from making wise decisions. It is one of the foundations that supports them. Learn to distinguish between what demands your attention and what merely demands your reaction. Many situations appear urgent but become insignificant within a few days. Before responding, ask whether this issue will matter next week, next month, or next year. This simple perspective helps reduce unnecessary emotional intensity. Not every disagreement deserves an argument. Not every criticism deserves a defense. Not every inconvenience deserves your peace of mind. One sign of maturity is becoming comfortable with temporary uncertainty. Life rarely provides complete clarity before action becomes necessary. You may need to accept a new opportunity without knowing every outcome. You may need to begin a project before feeling completely prepared. You may need to have an honest conversation without knowing exactly how the other person will respond. Courage is not the absence of uncertainty. Courage is choosing wisely despite it. When facing an important decision, imagine advising someone you deeply respect. What guidance would you give them? This mental exercise creates emotional distance. Problems often appear clearer when viewed from a calmer perspective. The advice you would offer another person is frequently wiser than the advice you give yourself during moments of stress. Your values should become the compass that guides difficult choices. Circumstances change, opinions change, emotions change. Strong values provide stability when everything else feels uncertain. If honesty, responsibility, kindness, patience, and integrity remain at the center of your thinking, many decisions become easier because you already know the standards you refuse to abandon. Do not fear making mistakes. Fear of failure has prevented countless people from making necessary decisions. Every thoughtful person eventually chooses incorrectly at times. The important question is not whether mistakes will happen. The important question is whether you will learn from them. Every experience contains valuable information if you remain willing to examine it honestly. After every significant decision, take time to review your thinking process. Ask yourself what influenced your choice. Which assumptions proved accurate? Which emotions became stronger than expected? What would you handle differently next time? This habit gradually strengthens judgment because every decision becomes an opportunity for learning instead of merely an outcome to celebrate or regret. Another powerful discipline is refusing to make major decisions while emotionally overwhelmed whenever possible. Extreme anger, deep sadness, intense excitement, or severe exhaustion reduce clear judgment. If the situation allows, give yourself time to recover emotional balance before deciding. A decision delayed for wisdom is often far better than a decision rushed through emotion. Remember that every challenge also develops your mind. Each difficult conversation strengthens communication. Each unexpected obstacle improves adaptability. Each responsibility teaches greater judgment. Instead of asking why life feels difficult, begin asking how these experiences are strengthening your ability to think more wisely. Pressure becomes valuable when it develops understanding instead of creating panic. As your thinking becomes more disciplined, people will notice something different about you. They will see someone who remains steady when others become reactive. They will recognize a person who listens before speaking, observes before judging, and evaluates before acting. This calm presence earns trust because people naturally rely on those who remain thoughtful during difficult moments. An effective person does not eliminate pressure from life. They eliminate unnecessary confusion from their own mind. They understand that external events cannot always be controlled, but internal judgment can always be improved. They recognize that every decision is an opportunity to strengthen wisdom, deepen character, and prepare for greater responsibilities ahead. Your thoughts shape every action you take. Every conversation begins with a thought. Every habit begins with a thought. Every goal begins with a thought. Guard your mind carefully because it influences every part of your life. Fill it with truth instead of fear, patience instead of panic, responsibility instead of excuses, and careful judgment instead of impulsive reaction. Over time, these choices will become your natural way of thinking, allowing you to face even the most demanding situations with quiet confidence, steady judgment, and the wisdom to choose what is right, even when the pressure is great. Chapter 4. Develop emotional control that earns trust and lasting respect everywhere. Your emotions are a natural part of being human. They bring energy to your experiences, help you connect with others, and remind you that you care about what happens around you. The problem is not having emotions. The problem begins when emotions take control of your choices instead of working alongside wisdom. An effective person does not ignore feelings or pretend they do not exist. They learn to understand them, guide them, and express them in ways that strengthen relationships rather than damage them. This ability earns something that cannot be demanded or purchased. It earns trust, and over time, it earns lasting respect. People remember how you make them feel during difficult moments more than they remember what you say during comfortable ones. Anyone can appear kind when life is going well. The true measure of emotional maturity appears when plans fail, disagreements arise, or unexpected pressure enters the situation. Those moments reveal whether your character is stable or easily shaken. Emotional control is not about becoming cold or distant. It is about remaining balanced enough to respond with wisdom instead of reacting without thought. Every emotion carries a message. Anger may tell you that something feels unfair. Fear may remind you that you are facing uncertainty. Sadness may point toward loss or disappointment. Joy may encourage gratitude. None of these emotions are your enemy. They become harmful only when you stop examining them and immediately obey whatever they demand. A wise person becomes curious before becoming reactive. Instead of asking, "How can I get rid of this feeling?" ask, "Why am I experiencing this feeling, and what is the healthiest response?" Many conflicts grow larger because people confuse emotions with facts. Feeling ignored does not always mean someone intended to ignore you. Feeling criticized does not automatically mean another person wanted to hurt you. Feeling discouraged does not prove that success is impossible. Emotions influence perception, but perception is not always reality. Learning this distinction protects you from unnecessary misunderstandings and painful assumptions. One of the greatest gifts you can give yourself is the ability to remain calm when someone else loses control. Imagine two people arguing. One raises their voice, interrupts constantly, and speaks from frustration. The other listens carefully, answers respectfully, and refuses to be pulled into emotional chaos. Which person appears stronger? Which person would others trust with greater responsibility? Calmness often communicates confidence more clearly than loud words ever could. Developing emotional control begins with awareness. Pay attention to the situations that consistently affect your mood. Perhaps criticism makes you defensive. Perhaps delays create frustration. Perhaps rejection causes self-doubt. Everyone has emotional triggers. Recognizing them is not a sign of weakness. It is the beginning of personal strength. Once you know what influences your reactions, you can prepare yourself before those situations appear again. Your body often notices emotions before your mind fully understands them. Your breathing may become faster, your shoulders may tighten, your heartbeat may increase. Your face may become tense. Learn to recognize these physical signals. They provide an early warning that your emotions are becoming stronger. Instead of ignoring these signs, use them as reminders to slow down. Take steady breaths, relax your posture, give yourself a moment to think before speaking. Small physical adjustments often create enough space for better decisions. Another important skill is separating your identity from your temporary emotional state. Feeling anxious does not mean you are a weak person. Feeling angry does not make you an angry person. Feeling disappointed does not define your future. Emotions come and go. Character is built by the choices you make while experiencing them. Never allow a temporary feeling to become a permanent description of who you are. Listening is one of the strongest expressions of emotional maturity. Most people listen with the intention of replying. Effective people listen with the intention of understanding. During conversations, resist the urge to interrupt or prepare your response while the other person is still speaking. Give them your complete attention. Observe not only their words but also their tone and concerns. People feel respected when they know they have truly been heard, even if they do not receive everything they want. You will also discover that silence has value. Many regrettable words are spoken simply because someone feels uncomfortable with a pause. You do not need to respond immediately to every criticism, accusation, or emotional comment. A brief moment of silence allows your thoughts to settle and often prevents unnecessary conflict. Thoughtful silence is not avoidance. It is evidence that you value wisdom more than winning an argument. Forgiveness deserves an important place in emotional growth. Holding on to resentment may feel justified, but it quietly consumes your peace. Every time you replay old pain, you allow yesterday's events to influence today's happiness. Forgiveness does not erase responsibility or excuse harmful behavior. It simply frees your own mind from carrying unnecessary emotional weight. The person who forgives often experiences greater freedom than the person who receives forgiveness. At the same time, emotional control does not require accepting harmful treatment. Healthy boundaries are part of emotional maturity. Respecting others does not mean allowing constant disrespect toward yourself. You can remain calm while firmly saying no. You can protect your values without becoming hostile. True confidence does not require aggression. It requires clarity about what you will and will not accept. One common mistake is believing that expressing every emotion immediately is always healthy. Honesty matters, but timing matters as well. There are moments when waiting until your emotions settle leads to a far more productive conversation. If anger is speaking louder than wisdom, delay the discussion until you can express yourself with respect. Difficult conversations become far more effective when guided by purpose instead of emotional intensity. Empathy is another essential quality. Emotional control is not only about managing yourself. It is also about understanding others. Every person you meet is carrying experiences you cannot fully see. Someone who appears impatient may be struggling with personal loss. Someone who seems distant may be carrying overwhelming responsibility. Someone who speaks harshly may be acting from fear rather than confidence. This does not excuse poor behavior, but it encourages compassion before judgment. Practice asking yourself what the other person might be experiencing before deciding how to respond. This habit softens unnecessary conflict and creates stronger relationships. People naturally trust those who make them feel understood rather than immediately criticized. Your words deserve careful attention because once spoken, they cannot be taken back. Before speaking, ask yourself whether your words are true, necessary, and respectful. A truthful statement delivered without kindness often creates unnecessary pain. Kind words without honesty create confusion. Effective communication requires both honesty and respect working together. Another valuable discipline is refusing to take every situation personally. Not every disagreement is an attack on your worth. Not every correction is an insult. Sometimes people are simply expressing different opinions or addressing specific behaviors. Separating your value as a person from individual mistakes allows you to receive feedback without becoming defensive. This mindset accelerates personal growth because learning becomes easier. Emotional stability also grows through gratitude. When your attention constantly focuses on what is missing, frustration increases. When you regularly recognize what is already present, contentment becomes stronger. This does not remove ambition, it creates balance. You continue pursuing improvement while appreciating today's blessings. Rest plays an important role in emotional health as well. Exhaustion weakens patience. Constant stress reduces understanding. When your body and mind receive proper recovery, emotional balance becomes easier to maintain. Caring for yourself is not selfish. It prepares you to care for others with greater wisdom and consistency. Remember that trust is not built through one impressive moment. It grows through repeated experiences. People begin trusting you when they know your reactions are dependable. They know you will not explode with anger over small problems. They know you will not spread gossip during moments of frustration. They know you will keep private conversations confidential. They know your actions remain consistent whether circumstances are pleasant or difficult. This steady behavior creates confidence in everyone around you. Respect follows a similar path. Many people chase admiration through status, wealth, or influence. Yet lasting respect usually belongs to those who consistently demonstrate integrity, patience, fairness, and self-control. Their presence brings stability instead of confusion. Others seek their advice because they know emotions will not cloud their judgment. There will always be situations that test your emotional strength. Someone may misunderstand your intentions. An opportunity may disappear unexpectedly. A trusted friend may disappoint you. Life cannot guarantee comfort, but it always provides opportunities to strengthen your character. Every challenge becomes another chance to practice patience instead of frustration, understanding instead of assumption, and wisdom instead of impulse. Do not expect immediate perfection. Emotional mastery develops gradually through repeated practice. Some days you will respond exactly as you hoped. Other days you will recognize mistakes after they happen. Both experiences contribute to growth if you remain honest and willing to learn. Progress is measured by becoming a little calmer, a little wiser, and a little more compassionate than you were before. One helpful habit is reviewing emotionally difficult situations after they pass. Ask yourself what you handled well. Consider what could have been improved. Reflect on what triggered your strongest reactions and how you might respond differently next time. This quiet evaluation transforms ordinary experiences into valuable lessons. As your emotional control deepens, your confidence becomes quieter. You no longer feel the need to prove yourself in every disagreement. You become comfortable allowing others to have different opinions without seeing them as enemies. You recognize that inner strength does not require constant validation. Peace begins replacing unnecessary conflict because your identity is no longer controlled by every outside opinion. People are naturally drawn toward emotional stability because it creates safety. Friends trust it, families depend on it, teams respect it, leaders require it. When others know they can approach you without fear of unpredictable reactions, your influence grows naturally. They listen because they believe your words come from careful judgment rather than temporary emotion. In the end, emotional control is not about becoming less human. It is about becoming a better human. It allows kindness to become stronger than anger, patience to become stronger than frustration, and understanding to become stronger than assumption. Every time you choose wisdom over impulse, you strengthen your character. Every calm response shapes your reputation. Every thoughtful conversation deepens trust. Continue practicing these choices every day, and your presence will become a source of confidence, respect, and steady encouragement wherever life takes you. Chapter 5. Take full responsibility for every choice and every outcome. The moment you accept complete responsibility for your life, you begin to reclaim a level of personal power that many people never experience. Responsibility is often misunderstood as a burden that limits freedom. In reality, it is the foundation of freedom. When you believe that every important part of your life depends entirely on other people or on circumstances beyond your control, you become trapped by helplessness. When you accept that your choices, your attitude, your effort, and your response remain within your control, you discover that meaningful change is always possible. Every person faces situations they did not choose. You did not choose where you were born. You did not choose every challenge that entered your life. You did not choose every disappointment, setback, or unfair experience. These realities deserve honesty, not denial. However, after those events happen, another choice appears. You decide how you will respond. That decision belongs to you alone. No one else can make it on your behalf. This is where responsibility truly begins. Many people spend years waiting for life to become easier before deciding to improve themselves. They believe they will become more productive after their circumstances change. They expect confidence to appear after receiving more encouragement. They postpone action until they feel completely prepared. Unfortunately, this mindset creates endless delay because perfect conditions rarely exist. Effective people begin working with the opportunities available today instead of waiting for an ideal tomorrow. Responsibility starts with the language you use every day. Listen carefully to your own words. Do you often say that someone else prevented your progress? Do you regularly blame bad luck for every disappointment? Do you believe your future depends mainly on events outside your influence? These habits quietly weaken your determination because they teach your mind that you have little control over your own direction. Replace those thoughts with more honest and empowering questions. Instead of asking who caused the problem, ask what you can do now. Instead of focusing on what has been lost, focus on what still remains. Instead of searching for someone to blame, search for the next useful action. This shift may seem small, but it changes the entire direction of your thinking. Responsibility always looks forward because it understands that the future is shaped by today's decisions. Owning your choices requires courage because it removes comfortable excuses. Excuses provide temporary relief. They protect your pride for a moment, but they also prevent growth. If every mistake is someone else's fault, there is nothing for you to improve. If every failure is caused by circumstances, there is no reason to develop new skills. Growth begins when you become willing to say, "I could have handled that better." Those simple words are not signs of defeat, they are signs of maturity. There is an important difference between accepting responsibility and carrying unnecessary guilt. Responsibility focuses on learning. Guilt often focuses only on punishment. If you make a mistake, admit it honestly, correct it if possible, learn from it completely, then continue moving forward. Remaining trapped in endless self-criticism serves no useful purpose. The goal is not to become your own harshest judge. The goal is to become your own most honest teacher. One of the clearest examples of responsibility appears in daily routines. No one forces you to manage your time wisely. No one can make you prepare for tomorrow instead of waiting until the last minute. No one can build your health through exercise, healthy eating, or proper rest on your behalf. These decisions accumulate quietly over months and years. Eventually, they become the life you are living. Small choices repeated consistently always produce larger outcomes than dramatic actions performed only once. Consider how responsibility affects your finances. Many people dream about greater financial security while ignoring simple habits that influence their future. Spending without planning, avoiding savings, or making emotional purchases may provide temporary satisfaction, but they also create future pressure. Responsible financial decisions often require patience. They ask you to think beyond today's desires and consider tomorrow's needs. This same principle applies to every area of life. Immediate pleasure should never automatically become the highest priority. Relationships also require personal responsibility. Healthy relationships do not survive through good intentions alone. They require honesty, reliability, kindness, and consistent effort. If trust has been damaged, blaming the other person rarely repairs it. Begin by examining your own actions. Did you communicate clearly? Did you keep your promises? Did you listen with respect? Did you apologize sincerely when necessary? Focusing on your own responsibilities creates opportunities for healing that blame never provides. There will be moments when others truly behave unfairly. You may experience betrayal, dishonesty, or disrespect despite your best efforts. Accepting responsibility does not mean accepting blame for another person's actions. Their behavior belongs to them. Your responsibility lies in choosing your response. You decide whether bitterness will control your future. You decide whether to learn from the experience. You decide what standards you will continue living by, regardless of how others behave. One valuable habit is keeping your promises, especially the promises no one else hears. When you decide to complete an important task, follow through. When you commit to learning a new skill, remain faithful to that commitment. Every fulfilled promise strengthens your integrity. Integrity is not built through public recognition. It is built through private consistency. The person you become when nobody is watching eventually becomes the person everyone else sees. Responsibility also requires accepting feedback with an open mind. Many people immediately defend themselves whenever they receive criticism. They search for reasons why the other person is wrong before considering whether there might be something valuable to learn. Wise people approach feedback differently. They listen carefully. They separate emotional tone from useful information. Even imperfect criticism may contain an important lesson if received with humility. There is strength in admitting when you do not know something. Pretending to have every answer creates unnecessary pressure and limits growth. Responsible people remain curious. They ask questions. They seek knowledge. They recognize that learning is not a sign of weakness, but evidence of wisdom. The willingness to improve begins with the willingness to admit, there is still more to understand. Another important aspect of responsibility is honoring your commitments even after the excitement disappears. It is easy to make promises when motivation is high. The real test arrives when the work becomes repetitive or difficult. Continue showing up. Continue making progress. Dependability grows through ordinary days far more than extraordinary moments. People begin trusting those whose actions remain steady regardless of changing emotions. Avoid comparing your responsibilities with someone else's. It is tempting to believe others have easier lives or greater opportunities. Such comparisons distract you from your own path. Every person carries challenges that remain invisible to outsiders. Focus your attention where it produces results. Ask yourself what your current responsibilities require. Fulfill them with excellence. That approach creates progress. Constant comparison rarely does. Responsibility becomes especially important during failure. Some people allow one disappointment to define their identity. They conclude they are incapable because one attempt did not succeed. Others approach failure differently. They examine what happened, identify weaknesses, adjust their strategy, and begin again. The difference is not talent. The difference is ownership. One person gives their future to circumstances, the other accepts responsibility for continued growth. Teach yourself to finish each day with honest reflection. Ask yourself whether your choices moved you closer to the person you want to become. Consider where you demonstrated courage, patience, or discipline. Notice where distractions, fear, or poor judgment influenced your actions. Do not perform this review to criticize yourself endlessly. Use it to become more aware. Awareness creates better decisions tomorrow. Your environment influences you, but it does not define you. Difficult surroundings may create additional obstacles. Limited resources may require greater creativity. Unsupportive people may test your determination. Acknowledge these realities honestly, but never surrender your ability to choose your next action. History is filled with individuals who created meaningful lives despite significant hardship because they refused to give away responsibility for their future. Another valuable principle is accepting responsibility before receiving recognition. Many people work hard only when someone is watching. They perform well only when praise is likely. Genuine character operates differently. Responsible individuals maintain high standards because excellence reflects who they are, not because someone might applaud them. This quiet discipline becomes one of the strongest foundations for long-term success. When you make a mistake that affects another person, apologize without making excuses. A sincere apology does not weaken your reputation, it strengthens it. People respect honesty. They appreciate those who acknowledge errors without trying to shift blame. A simple statement accepting responsibility often repairs relationships more effectively than long explanations designed to protect your image. As you continue developing this mindset, you will notice a profound change in your confidence. Confidence no longer depends on perfect circumstances or constant success. It grows from knowing that regardless of what happens, you will respond with honesty, effort, and resilience. This confidence remains steady because it is built on character rather than outcomes. Responsibility also changes the way you influence others. Family members, friends, and colleagues pay close attention to your actions. They notice whether you accept mistakes or avoid them. They observe whether you keep your commitments or abandon them when they become inconvenient. Your example quietly teaches others what integrity looks like. Leadership begins long before receiving a title. It begins the moment your actions become worthy of imitation. Do not expect this way of living to become effortless overnight. There will be moments when excuses seem attractive. There will be days when avoiding responsibility feels easier than facing uncomfortable truths. Choose honesty anyway. Every time you accept ownership of your choices, your character becomes stronger. Every time you correct a mistake instead of hiding it, your integrity deepens. Every time you respond to difficulty with purposeful action instead of complaint, you move closer to becoming the person you were capable of becoming all along. Your future is being shaped one decision at a time. Every conversation, every commitment, every habit, every response to disappointment becomes part of the story you are writing with your life. You cannot rewrite yesterday, but you hold complete responsibility for what you choose next. That truth should never create fear, it should create hope. As long as you have another day, another decision, and another opportunity to act with wisdom, your life can continue moving in a better direction. The strongest people are not those who experience the fewest problems. They are the ones who refuse to surrender responsibility for their growth, regardless of the problems they face. They understand that circumstances may influence the path, but character determines the journey. Live with that understanding every day. Accept ownership of your choices without hesitation. Learn from every outcome with humility. Continue improving with determination. Over time, this way of living will earn something far more valuable than temporary success. It will earn deep self-respect, lasting credibility, and the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you have chosen to lead your own life with integrity. Chapter 6. Strengthen your communication to influence others with honesty and confidence. Words have the power to shape opportunities, strengthen relationships, solve problems, and inspire people to take meaningful action. Every conversation leaves an impression. Sometimes that impression lasts only a few moments. Sometimes it influences a person's thinking for years. An effective person understands that communication is much more than speaking clearly. It is the ability to connect with others through honesty, understanding, respect, and confidence. People are not influenced because someone speaks loudly or uses impressive language. They are influenced because they recognize sincerity, consistency, and genuine concern. Many people believe communication begins the moment they start talking. In reality, it begins much earlier. It begins with your intention. Before speaking, ask yourself why you are entering the conversation. Are you trying to understand another person, solve a problem, encourage someone, or simply prove that you are right? Your intention quietly shapes every word you choose. When your purpose is guided by respect instead of pride, your message becomes more meaningful and much easier for others to receive. One of the greatest mistakes people make is believing that influence comes from speaking more than everyone else. Real influence often grows from careful observation. When you take time to understand another person's perspective, your response becomes more thoughtful and relevant. People naturally become more open when they feel understood. They become less defensive because they recognize that you are paying attention rather than simply waiting for your turn to speak. Every conversation offers two opportunities. One is to express your own ideas. The other is to discover something valuable from another person. If you focus only on the first opportunity, your communication becomes limited. Curiosity expands your understanding. Ask meaningful questions. Encourage others to explain their experiences. Show genuine interest in their thoughts. These simple actions build trust because people appreciate those who value their opinions. Clarity should always be one of your goals. Confusing language creates unnecessary misunderstandings. Speak in a way that is simple, direct, and easy to understand. Complicated words do not automatically make your message stronger. They often distract from the main point. The most effective communicators express important ideas using everyday language that people can immediately understand and remember. Confidence in communication does not mean pretending to know everything. It means speaking honestly about what you know while remaining comfortable admitting what you do not know. There is quiet strength in saying, "I need more information before I answer," or "I made a mistake." These statements demonstrate maturity rather than weakness. People tend to trust individuals who value truth more than protecting their image. Body language also communicates constantly, even when no words are spoken. The way you stand, the expression on your face, your eye contact, and your posture all send messages before your voice is heard. Stand with calm confidence, face the person you are speaking with, maintain natural eye contact without staring, allow your expression to reflect attentiveness and respect. These simple habits make your words more believable because your actions support your message. Tone deserves careful attention as well. The same sentence can encourage someone or discourage them, depending on how it is delivered. A respectful tone invites cooperation. A harsh tone often creates resistance before the conversation has truly begun. Speak firmly when necessary, but avoid unnecessary sharpness. People remember not only what you said, but also how your words made them feel. Honesty forms the foundation of lasting influence. Temporary success achieved through exaggeration or manipulation eventually destroys credibility. Once trust is broken, rebuilding it becomes difficult. Always choose accuracy over convenience. If you promise something, follow through. If you do not know an answer, admit it. If you discover you were mistaken, correct yourself willingly. Every truthful conversation strengthens your reputation over time. Influence is never about controlling another person. It is about helping them see possibilities they may not have noticed before. Effective communication respects another person's freedom to think and decide. Present your ideas with confidence, but never force agreement. People are far more likely to accept guidance when they feel respected instead of pressured. Learning to explain your thoughts in an organized way is another valuable skill. Before entering an important conversation, take a few minutes to arrange your ideas. Identify the main point you want to communicate. Consider the examples that support your message. Think about possible questions the other person may ask. Preparation reduces confusion and allows you to express yourself with greater confidence. Difficult conversations are an unavoidable part of life. Whether discussing disappointment, correcting a mistake, or addressing conflict, your approach matters. Begin by focusing on the issue rather than attacking the person's character. Describe specific actions instead of making broad accusations. Replace emotional assumptions with observable facts. This approach keeps the discussion productive because it addresses the real problem without creating unnecessary defensiveness. Timing also affects communication. Even important messages can be ignored if delivered at the wrong moment. Pay attention to whether the other person is ready to listen. If someone is exhausted, overwhelmed, or distracted, waiting for a better opportunity may lead to a far more meaningful conversation. Patience often increases the effectiveness of your words. Do not underestimate the importance of encouragement. Many people quietly carry self-doubt, even if they appear confident on the outside. A sincere compliment, thoughtful recognition, or genuine expression of appreciation can strengthen another person's confidence more than you realize. Encourage honestly. Notice specific qualities or efforts rather than offering empty praise. Authentic encouragement inspires growth because it acknowledges real progress. Communication also requires the courage to ask for clarification. Never assume you fully understand another person's meaning if something seems unclear. Ask respectful questions. Invite further explanation. Misunderstandings often disappear when both people become willing to seek greater understanding instead of making quick conclusions. Silence can strengthen communication just as much as speech. After asking an important question, allow the other person time to think. Resist the urge to fill every quiet moment with additional words. Silence often encourages deeper reflection and more honest responses. It communicates patience and respect for another person's thoughts. Your ability to communicate during disagreement reveals much about your character. Different opinions are natural. They provide opportunities for learning and growth. Avoid treating every disagreement as a personal contest that must produce a winner. Instead, approach differences with curiosity. Ask why the other person sees the situation differently. You may not change your opinion, but you will gain greater understanding. Respectful disagreement strengthens wisdom because it expands your perspective. Another valuable habit is matching your words with your actions. Promises without follow-through gradually weaken your influence. People believe what they consistently observe more than what they repeatedly hear. If you speak about responsibility, demonstrate responsibility. If you encourage honesty, practice honesty. If you value kindness, express it through daily behavior. Consistency between words and actions creates credibility that cannot be manufactured. Avoid speaking only to impress others. Communication loses its authenticity when the primary goal becomes seeking admiration. Focus instead on creating value. Share knowledge that helps people solve problems. Offer ideas that encourage growth. Speak with the desire to contribute rather than simply receive attention. This attitude naturally attracts respect because people recognize your genuine purpose. Every audience is different. The way you explain an idea to a close friend may differ from how you present it in a professional setting or to a family member. Adapt your communication without compromising your honesty. Consider the needs, experiences, and understanding of the people you are addressing. Effective communication always considers the listener as carefully as the message itself. Confidence grows through preparation and repeated practice. If public speaking makes you uncomfortable, begin with small opportunities. Share your thoughts during meetings. Practice explaining ideas clearly to trusted friends. Record yourself speaking and notice areas for improvement. Every conversation becomes an opportunity to strengthen your communication skills. Improvement comes through action, not endless observation. Learn to recognize the difference between persuasion and pressure. Persuasion presents ideas respectfully while allowing others to make their own decisions. Pressure attempts to force agreement through fear, guilt, or manipulation. Lasting influence is built on trust, never on intimidation. People may comply under pressure for a short time, but genuine commitment grows from understanding and respect. Your choice of words also affects emotional connection. Replace unnecessary criticism with constructive guidance. Instead of focusing only on problems, include possible solutions. Instead of highlighting only mistakes, recognize effort and progress where appropriate. Balanced communication creates hope while remaining truthful. There will be moments when your message is misunderstood, despite your best efforts. Respond with patience instead of frustration. Clarify your intention calmly. Listen carefully to the concerns being expressed. Sometimes improving communication simply requires explaining the same idea in a different way. Flexibility strengthens understanding without compromising your values. One of the most overlooked communication skills is expressing gratitude directly. Tell people when you appreciate their help. Acknowledge acts of kindness. Thank those who invest their time, knowledge, or encouragement in your life. Genuine appreciation strengthens relationships because it reminds people that their efforts matter. As your communication improves, you will notice changes extending beyond conversations themselves. Opportunities increase because people understand your ideas more clearly. Relationships deepen because trust becomes stronger. Conflicts become easier to resolve because you approach them with patience and fairness. Leadership becomes more natural because others recognize consistency between your character and your words. Remember that every conversation contributes to your reputation. People gradually form opinions based on repeated interactions. They notice whether you speak truthfully, keep your commitments, respect different viewpoints, and remain composed during challenging discussions. These qualities create lasting influence because they reflect genuine integrity rather than temporary performance. An effective person does not measure successful communication by how often they speak. Success is measured by whether understanding has increased, trust has grown, and people leave the conversation feeling respected. These outcomes require practice, humility, and continuous learning. They cannot be achieved through clever language alone. Continue strengthening this skill every day. Read carefully so your understanding expands. Observe skilled communicators and notice how they simplify complex ideas. Practice expressing your thoughts with clarity. Welcome feedback that helps you improve. Most importantly, allow honesty to remain at the center of every conversation. Truth spoken with confidence and respect has the power to encourage, guide, resolve conflict, and inspire meaningful action. When your words consistently reflect integrity, people begin believing not only what you say, but also who you are. Your voice becomes associated with reliability. Your advice carries greater weight because your life supports your message. Over time, your communication becomes more than a useful skill. It becomes one of the strongest expressions of your character, allowing you to influence others in ways that create lasting value, stronger relationships, and a reputation built on trust that endures through every stage of life. Chapter 7. Eliminate distractions that waste time and weaken your daily focus. Every person receives the same 24 hours each day, yet the results people achieve can be completely different. The difference is rarely explained by time itself. More often, it is explained by attention. Your attention is one of the most valuable resources you possess because it determines where your energy goes, what skills you develop, and how your future is shaped. Every moment you give your attention to something is a moment you cannot recover. This is why learning to eliminate distractions is not simply a productivity skill. It is an essential part of building a meaningful life. Distractions rarely announce themselves as problems. They usually appear harmless. A few extra minutes checking your phone, one more video before beginning an important task, a short conversation that slowly becomes an hour, constantly switching between activities without completing any of them. Individually, these moments seem insignificant. Repeated every day, they quietly steal months and even years of valuable progress. An effective person understands that focus is not something that appears automatically. It is something that must be protected. The modern world constantly competes for your attention. Every notification, advertisement, headline, and message is designed to pull your mind in another direction. If you never decide what deserves your attention, someone else will gladly make that decision for you. Living intentionally means choosing where your mind will go instead of allowing every outside influence to control it. One of the first steps towards stronger focus is identifying what truly distracts you. Every person faces different challenges. Some lose concentration because of endless social media. Others become trapped by unnecessary meetings, constant interruptions, excessive entertainment, or habits that provide immediate comfort while delaying meaningful work. Spend several days observing how you use your time. Do not judge yourself. Simply become aware. Honest observation often reveals patterns that were previously invisible. Many people believe they are working for hours when, in reality, their attention is divided into small fragments. They answer messages while reading. They check notifications during conversations. They begin one project, abandon it halfway, and immediately start another. Although they remain busy, very little meaningful progress is made. The mind performs best when it can remain fully engaged with one important task, instead of constantly shifting between different activities. Learning to concentrate on a single responsibility is a powerful advantage. Choose one task that deserves your complete attention. Remove anything unrelated from your workspace. Silence unnecessary notifications. Close applications that are not required. Give yourself permission to focus deeply without feeling guilty about everything else waiting for you. This kind of concentration often produces more meaningful results in 1 hour than several distracted hours ever could. Your environment has a greater influence on your attention than many people realize. A cluttered room often creates a cluttered mind. Constant noise makes sustained concentration more difficult. An organized space encourages clearer thinking because fewer unnecessary objects compete for your awareness. You do not need a perfect environment, but creating a space that supports focus makes disciplined work much easier. Another important lesson is recognizing the difference between relaxation and distraction. Rest is necessary. Every mind requires recovery after sustained effort. Purposeful rest renews your energy and prepares you for future challenges. Distraction is different. It often leaves you feeling mentally exhausted without providing genuine renewal. Hours spent consuming endless content may temporarily entertain you, yet they rarely leave you feeling refreshed or fulfilled. Learn to choose forms of rest that actually restore your body and mind. One valuable practice is setting clear boundaries around your time. If every request receives an immediate yes, your schedule gradually fills with responsibilities that do not reflect your highest priorities. Learning to decline certain invitations or postpone unnecessary commitments allows you to protect the time needed for meaningful work. Saying no respectfully is often an act of wisdom rather than selfishness. Many distractions begin inside the mind rather than outside it. Worry, unnecessary comparison, regret, and endless imaginary conversations consume attention even when the external environment remains quiet. These internal distractions can become even more damaging because they follow you wherever you go. When you notice your thoughts drifting away from the present task, gently return your attention to what you are doing. This simple habit strengthens mental discipline over time. Perfectionism is another hidden distraction. Some people delay beginning important work because they fear making mistakes. They spend excessive time planning without taking meaningful action. They repeatedly adjust small details instead of completing valuable projects. Excellence should always be your goal, but perfection should never become an excuse for avoiding progress. Complete meaningful work today rather than waiting endlessly for flawless conditions. Learning to manage your energy is just as important as managing your schedule. Focus naturally becomes stronger when your body receives proper care. Nutritious meals, regular movement, sufficient sleep, and moments of recovery all contribute to mental clarity. Ignoring these basic needs weakens concentration because an exhausted mind struggles to maintain sustained attention. Your morning often determines the direction of your entire day. Beginning the day with immediate distractions creates momentum in the wrong direction. Before allowing outside demands to fill your attention, spend time deciding what truly deserves your effort. A purposeful beginning reduces the likelihood of becoming controlled by random interruptions later in the day. Avoid confusing urgency with importance. Many activities demand immediate attention without contributing meaningful value to your long-term goals. An unexpected message may feel urgent. A minor request may appear important simply because someone else expects an immediate response. Before changing your focus, ask whether the interruption genuinely deserves your attention at this moment. Sometimes the wisest decision is to finish your current responsibility before addressing something new. Technology is one of the greatest tools available when used intentionally. It allows learning, communication, creativity, and problem-solving on an extraordinary scale. Yet without discipline, the same technology becomes one of the greatest sources of distraction. Instead of allowing devices to control your attention, decide in advance when and how you will use them. Turn off unnecessary alerts. Create periods during the day when your phone remains out of reach. These small adjustments often produce remarkable improvements in concentration. Do not underestimate the value of boredom. Modern life often encourages constant stimulation. Every quiet moment is quickly filled with entertainment or information. Yet boredom creates space for reflection, creativity, and original thinking. Some of your best ideas may appear during moments when your mind is not overloaded with endless input. Allow yourself periods of quiet without immediately searching for something to occupy your attention. Another helpful practice is breaking large goals into smaller actions. Massive projects often feel overwhelming, making distractions appear more attractive than meaningful work. Smaller tasks create a clear starting point. Instead of focusing on everything required to complete a major project, identify the next useful action and begin there. Progress builds confidence, and confidence makes continued focus easier. People around you also influence your ability to remain focused. Some individuals constantly interrupt, encourage procrastination, or distract others from meaningful work. Others respect your time, support your goals, and encourage disciplined habits. Choose your company wisely. The attitudes of those closest to you gradually shape your own expectations and daily behavior. Pay attention to the promises you make to yourself regarding your time. If you decide to work for one uninterrupted hour, honor that decision. If you plan to avoid unnecessary distractions until a task is completed, keep that commitment. Every time you follow through, your ability to concentrate becomes stronger. Every broken promise weakens self-discipline. Consistency creates trust in your own decisions. It is also helpful to recognize when your attention naturally begins to fade. Most people have certain periods of the day when their thinking is especially sharp. Use these hours for work requiring creativity, careful judgment, or deep concentration. Save routine activities for times when your mental energy is lower. Matching important work with your strongest periods of focus increases both quality and efficiency. One overlooked distraction is carrying unfinished responsibilities in your mind. When several important tasks remain unresolved, your attention becomes divided even while working on something else. Develop the habit of writing important responsibilities down instead of trying to remember everything. A trusted system reduces mental pressure because your brain no longer needs to constantly remind you of unfinished work. Resist the temptation to measure your day only by how busy you were. Activity alone does not guarantee meaningful progress. At the end of each day, ask yourself whether your attention was invested in work that truly mattered. Consider what advanced your goals, strengthened your relationships, or improved your character. This reflection gradually teaches you to distinguish between movement and genuine achievement. There will always be distractions. New technologies will appear. Unexpected opportunities will compete for your attention. People will continue making requests. The goal is not to eliminate every interruption forever. The goal is to strengthen your ability to choose wisely despite them. Your attention should remain guided by purpose rather than pulled by every passing impulse. Remember that every moment of focused effort is an investment in your future. Skills improve because of sustained attention. Relationships deepen because of undivided presence. Important goals become reality because someone remained committed long after distractions invited them to quit. Great accomplishments are rarely produced through scattered effort. They are created through consistent concentration applied over long periods. As you become more intentional with your attention, you will notice unexpected benefits beyond increased productivity. Your mind will feel calmer because it is no longer constantly switching between unfinished tasks. Your decisions will become clearer because unnecessary mental noise has been reduced. Your confidence will grow because you consistently complete what you begin. Even your relationships will improve because people recognize when you are fully present during conversations instead of mentally somewhere else. Do not expect perfect focus every day. Some days will bring unexpected challenges and unavoidable interruptions. Progress does not require perfection, it requires persistence. Whenever your attention drifts, gently guide it back without frustration. Every return strengthens your ability to concentrate. Every intentional decision teaches your mind what truly deserves your energy. The direction of your life is determined by what consistently receives your attention. Whatever occupies your mind day after day gradually shapes your habits, your skills, your relationships, and your future. Protect your attention with care. Invest it where it creates lasting value. Refuse to allow temporary distractions to steal opportunities that could transform your life. Each focused hour becomes another step toward becoming an effective person whose actions are guided by purpose, whose mind remains clear amid constant demands, and whose daily efforts produce results that endure long after the distractions have disappeared. Chapter 8. Practice consistent learning to improve your skills and expand opportunities. The moment you stop learning, your growth begins to slow, even if you continue moving through the routines of daily life. Learning is not something that belongs only in classrooms or during the early years of life. It is a lifelong practice that shapes your thinking, improves your abilities, expands your opportunities, and prepares you for challenges that have not yet arrived. An effective person understands that every day offers a chance to gain new knowledge, strengthen existing skills, and become more capable than they were yesterday. The world continues to change whether you decide to grow or remain the same. New ideas appear, industries evolve, technology advances, people discover better ways of solving old problems. If your knowledge remains unchanged while everything around you continues developing, you gradually become less prepared for the future. Continuous learning allows you to adapt with confidence instead of fearing change. It gives you the ability to meet new situations with curiosity rather than uncertainty. Learning begins with humility. A person who believes they already know enough closes the door to improvement. Pride convinces people that advice is unnecessary and that experience alone provides every answer. Humility takes a different path. It recognizes that every individual has something valuable to teach, every experience contains a lesson, and every mistake offers an opportunity for deeper understanding. The more you learn, the more you realize there is still much to discover. Many people imagine learning as collecting information. While knowledge is valuable, information alone does not transform a life. Real learning changes behavior. If you read 10 books about leadership but never improve the way you treat people, your knowledge remains incomplete. If you study communication but continue avoiding honest conversations, learning has not yet become practical. Wisdom appears when new understanding becomes visible through daily action. One of the most valuable habits you can develop is reading consistently. Books allow you to learn from people whose experiences extend far beyond your own. A thoughtful author may spend decades gathering knowledge, solving problems, and refining ideas. By reading carefully, you gain access to lessons that would otherwise require many years to discover on your own. Even reading a small number of pages every day creates remarkable growth over time. Choose reading material that challenges your thinking, rather than simply confirming what you already believe. It is comfortable to stay within familiar ideas, but growth often begins when you encounter different perspectives. You do not need to accept every opinion you read, but considering new viewpoints strengthens your ability to think independently and evaluate ideas carefully. Learning also happens through observation. Pay attention to people who consistently demonstrate qualities you admire. Watch how they solve problems, manage responsibilities, communicate with others, and respond to setbacks. Every skilled person provides lessons if you observe carefully enough. Instead of feeling jealous of another person's ability, become curious about the habits and decisions that help them develop those strengths. Questions are powerful tools for learning. Many opportunities disappear because people are afraid to admit they do not understand something. Never allow pride to prevent you from asking thoughtful questions. Most experienced people appreciate genuine curiosity because it shows respect for their knowledge and a sincere desire to improve. A simple question asked at the right moment can save years of unnecessary struggle. Practice is what transforms learning into skill. Reading about swimming cannot teach someone to swim. Studying music cannot replace regular practice with an instrument. Understanding the principles of communication does not automatically create confidence during difficult conversations. Every meaningful skill develops through repeated action. Knowledge prepares you, but practice changes you. Accept that progress often feels uncomfortable in the beginning. Every new skill places you in unfamiliar situations where mistakes become inevitable. This discomfort discourages many people from continuing. They would rather protect their current confidence than become beginners again. Effective people understand that temporary discomfort is the price of long-term capability. They remain willing to look inexperienced today in order to become highly skilled tomorrow. Another valuable principle is learning with intention instead of consuming information randomly. Before beginning a new subject, ask yourself why it matters. Identify the specific ability you want to develop. Create a simple plan for applying what you learn. Purposeful learning creates lasting results because every lesson supports a meaningful goal. Your daily experiences provide some of the greatest educational opportunities available. Every success reveals what works. Every disappointment highlights areas that deserve improvement. Every conversation teaches something about people, communication, or yourself. Life becomes a classroom when you approach each experience with curiosity instead of frustration. Do not overlook the importance of writing. Recording your thoughts helps organize your understanding. When you write about what you have learned, your ideas become clearer. You begin noticing connections that remained hidden while your thoughts stayed inside your mind. A notebook filled with reflections, observations, and lessons gradually becomes a valuable record of your personal growth. Seek feedback regularly. Learning becomes much faster when you discover how others experience your actions. Ask trusted people where they believe you could improve. Listen without becoming defensive. Some suggestions may not apply, but many will reveal blind spots you could not have identified alone. Honest feedback accelerates development because it provides perspectives beyond your own. Learning requires patience because meaningful improvement rarely happens immediately. You may spend weeks practicing without seeing dramatic progress. Continue anyway. Every repetition strengthens understanding. Every attempt develops greater familiarity. Small improvements often remain invisible until they accumulate into remarkable ability. Trust the process, even when results appear slower than expected. Another important habit is revisiting what you have already learned. Knowledge fades when it is never reviewed or applied. Return to valuable lessons regularly. Read meaningful books more than once. Reflect on previous experiences. Strengthen important skills through continued practice. Repetition deepens understanding and transforms information into lasting wisdom. Do not become discouraged by comparing your learning speed with someone else's. Every individual begins from a different place and develops at a different pace. Focus on your own improvement. Ask whether you understand more today than you did last month. Notice the skills that have become easier through consistent effort. Growth measured against your own past creates healthy motivation without unnecessary pressure. The people around you greatly influence your desire to learn. Spend time with individuals who value growth, ask thoughtful questions, and remain curious throughout life. Their attitude encourages your own development. Conversations with such people often become opportunities for discovering new ideas, challenging assumptions, and expanding understanding. Mistakes deserve a different perspective as well. Many people view mistakes only as evidence of failure. Effective learners recognize them as valuable information. Every error reveals something that still needs attention. Instead of asking how to avoid looking foolish, ask what the mistake is trying to teach. This mindset transforms setbacks into stepping stones for future success. Develop the habit of learning from fields beyond your immediate interests. A business professional can benefit from studying psychology. An artist may gain valuable insights from history. A teacher might improve through learning about communication or leadership. Different subjects often strengthen one another in unexpected ways because many principles apply across multiple areas of life. Consistency matters far more than intensity. Studying for many hours once each month rarely produces the same results as learning for a shorter time every day. Daily learning keeps your mind active and your curiosity alive. It also makes improvement feel natural rather than overwhelming. Even 15 or 20 minutes invested consistently can create extraordinary progress over the course of a year. Protect your curiosity. Children naturally ask questions because they want to understand the world. Many adults gradually lose this habit as they become concerned about appearing knowledgeable. Return to the willingness to explore, investigate, and wonder. Curiosity keeps the mind flexible. It opens doors to discoveries that routine thinking often misses. Learning should also improve your judgment, not just increase your information. As your understanding grows, your decisions should become wiser. You begin recognizing patterns more quickly. You solve problems more effectively. You evaluate opportunities more carefully. Knowledge becomes valuable when it improves the quality of your choices. Another important lesson is recognizing that teaching strengthens learning. When you explain an idea to another person, you discover whether you truly understand it yourself. Sharing knowledge also creates value beyond your own life. Helping others grow reinforces your own understanding while contributing positively to those around you. There will be seasons when learning feels difficult. Responsibilities increase, energy decreases, progress seems slow. During these periods, avoid stopping completely. Continue reading a few pages. Continue practicing one small skill. Continue asking thoughtful questions. Small actions preserve momentum until greater opportunities for learning return. Never believe that age limits your ability to develop new abilities. The human mind remains capable of learning throughout life when it continues receiving challenge, practice, and meaningful engagement. Some of the most remarkable achievements in history came from individuals who continued growing long after others expected them to stop. Your willingness to learn matters far more than the number of years behind you. As your knowledge expands, allow your confidence to remain balanced with humility. Becoming more capable should increase your desire to serve rather than your desire to appear superior. The greatest learners often become the most approachable because they remember what it felt like to begin without understanding. They encourage others because they know growth is possible for anyone willing to remain committed. Every new skill creates opportunities that did not previously exist. Better communication strengthens relationships and leadership. Improved financial knowledge creates wiser decisions. Greater technical ability opens professional doors. Stronger emotional understanding improves family life and friendships. Learning continuously expands your ability to contribute meaningfully wherever you go. The future belongs to those who remain willing to grow while others become comfortable with standing still. Each day offers another opportunity to sharpen your mind, strengthen your abilities, and prepare for responsibilities that may soon arrive. Refuse to believe that your best learning years are behind you. Your greatest development may still be ahead if you continue approaching life with curiosity, discipline, and determination. An effective person never reaches a point where improvement is no longer necessary. They remain students regardless of their achievements, because they understand that growth has no final destination. Every lesson learned becomes another tool for serving others more effectively, solving problems more wisely, and living with greater purpose. Continue investing in your mind every single day. The knowledge you gain, the skills you develop, and the wisdom you apply will become lifelong assets that no circumstance can take away. Chapter 9. Serve others with genuine value to build meaningful, lasting relationships. No one builds a meaningful life entirely alone. Every opportunity, every lesson, every achievement, and every season of growth is connected in some way to other people. The quality of your relationships often determines the quality of your personal and professional life. An effective person understands that strong relationships are not created by seeking constant attention or personal advantage. They are built by consistently bringing genuine value into the lives of others. When people know that your presence improves their day, supports their growth, and respects their dignity, trust grows naturally, and lasting relationships begin to take shape. Many people approach relationships with an invisible question in their minds. They wonder what they can receive, what benefits they can gain, or how another person can help them achieve their goals. While it is natural to appreciate support from others, relationships built only on personal gain rarely survive difficult seasons. Lasting connections develop when both people feel respected, appreciated, and valued. Instead of asking what someone can do for you, begin asking how your actions can make their life a little better. Serving others does not require extraordinary wealth, influence, or special talents. It begins with ordinary actions performed sincerely. A thoughtful conversation, careful attention, honest encouragement, dependable support, and genuine kindness often leave a greater impact than expensive gifts or impressive speeches. People usually remember how consistently you treated them long after they forget specific events or achievements. One of the greatest ways to serve another person is by giving them your full attention. In today's world, many conversations are interrupted by phones, notifications, or wandering thoughts. Being fully present has become increasingly rare. When someone speaks to you, make them feel that their words matter. Look at them with interest. Listen carefully, without rushing the conversation. Resist the urge to think about your reply while they are still sharing their thoughts. This simple habit communicates respect in a way that words alone cannot. Meaningful relationships are strengthened through reliability. People naturally trust those whose actions remain consistent over time. If you promise to help, follow through. If you agree to meet someone, arrive prepared and on time. If someone shares something in confidence, protect their trust. Reliability creates emotional safety because people know they can depend on you even when circumstances become difficult. Generosity extends far beyond money. Your time, knowledge, experience, encouragement, patience, and attention are valuable gifts. Sometimes the greatest contribution you can make is sharing what you have learned with someone who is struggling. Other times it may simply mean being available when another person needs someone willing to listen without judgment. Service often appears in quiet moments that receive little public recognition. Respect should remain at the center of every relationship, regardless of differences in background, education, profession, or social status. Every person deserves to be treated with dignity. Speak politely to everyone, not only to those who can benefit you. Show appreciation to people whose work often goes unnoticed. Demonstrate kindness even when no reward is expected. Character is revealed by how you treat individuals who have nothing to offer you in return. Another important principle is learning to celebrate the success of others without allowing comparison to steal your joy. When someone achieves an important goal, offer sincere congratulations, recognize their effort, appreciate their dedication. Their success does not reduce your potential. A generous heart finds satisfaction in encouraging the progress of others instead of viewing every achievement as a competition. Patience plays an essential role in healthy relationships. Every person grows at a different pace. People make mistakes. They misunderstand one another. They carry burdens that are not always visible. Instead of expecting perfection, choose understanding. This does not mean ignoring harmful behavior or abandoning healthy boundaries. It means recognizing that lasting relationships require grace, forgiveness, and a willingness to work through ordinary human imperfections. Honesty is another expression of genuine care. Many people avoid difficult conversations because they fear temporary discomfort. Yet avoiding important truths often creates greater problems later. Speak honestly with kindness. If someone needs encouragement, offer it sincerely. If they need constructive guidance, provide it respectfully. Truth expressed with compassion strengthens relationships because it demonstrates both courage and concern. Small acts performed consistently often have greater influence than occasional dramatic gestures. A simple message asking how someone is doing, remembering an important date, offering assistance before being asked, expressing gratitude regularly. These actions may appear ordinary, yet they quietly build deep trust because they show thoughtful attention over time. Avoid making every conversation about yourself. It is easy to dominate discussions by constantly returning to your own experiences, opinions, or achievements. Balance requires genuine interest in the lives of others. Ask meaningful questions. Encourage people to share their goals, challenges, and hopes. Listen with curiosity rather than impatience. Strong relationships grow through mutual understanding rather than one-sided attention. People also value those who remain calm during difficult seasons. Friends often remember who stood beside them during hardship more than who celebrated with them during success. Offering steady support during illness, disappointment, financial struggle, or personal loss demonstrates loyalty that words alone cannot express. Presence during difficult moments often becomes one of the greatest gifts you can offer. Never underestimate the importance of expressing appreciation. Gratitude strengthens relationships because it reminds people that their efforts matter. Say thank you sincerely and specifically. Acknowledge acts of kindness. Recognize sacrifices that others make. Appreciation encourages continued goodwill, while preventing people from feeling overlooked or taken for granted. Serving others also means respecting their individuality. Do not expect everyone to think, communicate, or solve problems exactly as you do. Different personalities bring different strengths. Some people speak quickly, others think carefully before responding. Some enjoy social interaction. Others prefer quiet reflection. Accepting these differences creates stronger relationships because people feel valued for who they are, rather than pressured to become someone else. Healthy relationships require forgiveness, because misunderstandings are unavoidable. Holding on to every disappointment creates emotional distance. Address problems honestly when necessary, but remain willing to move forward after sincere effort has been made to restore trust. Forgiveness does not erase wisdom or remove appropriate boundaries. It simply prevents bitterness from controlling your future interactions. Avoid gossip in every form. Speaking negatively about others behind their backs weakens trust, because people naturally wonder what you might say about them when they are absent. Choose conversations that encourage, educate, or solve problems instead of spreading unnecessary criticism. Your words should strengthen relationships, not quietly damage them. Serving others also involves respecting their time. Arrive when you promised. Prepare before meetings. Respond thoughtfully instead of leaving important messages unanswered without reason. These practical habits demonstrate consideration because they recognize that another person's time carries equal value to your own. Another valuable principle is learning to give without immediately expecting something in return. Genuine generosity is not a hidden transaction, it is an expression of character. Sometimes your kindness will be appreciated immediately, sometimes it may go unnoticed. Continue serving with sincerity because your actions reflect your values rather than another person's response. Encouraging growth in others is one of the greatest forms of service. Help people recognize their strengths, share opportunities that may benefit them, recommend books, ideas, or experiences that contributed to your own development. Celebrate their progress without seeking credit for it. Watching another person become stronger because of your encouragement creates lasting satisfaction. There will also be moments when serving others requires difficult choices. You may need to speak truthfully when silence would be easier. You may need to support someone through a challenging season that requires patience and sacrifice. You may need to admit your own mistakes in order to repair trust. Genuine care often requires courage, because meaningful relationships are strengthened through honesty as much as through kindness. Do not neglect the importance of serving your own family. It is easy to show patience and generosity in public while becoming careless with the people closest to you. Speak respectfully at home. Express appreciation frequently. Help with ordinary responsibilities without waiting to be asked. The strongest relationships often grow through consistent everyday actions rather than extraordinary occasions. Remember that influence grows naturally through service. People willingly follow those who consistently improve the lives of others. Leadership is not established by authority alone. It is earned through trust, reliability, compassion, and integrity. When people recognize that your intentions are sincere, they become more willing to accept your guidance and value your perspective. Another important habit is learning to notice unspoken needs. Some people rarely ask for help, even when they are struggling. Pay attention to changes in behavior. Notice when someone seems discouraged, overwhelmed, or unusually quiet. A thoughtful conversation or practical offer of assistance may provide exactly the encouragement they need during a difficult season. Serving others should never require abandoning your own values or neglecting your own well-being. Healthy service operates within wise boundaries. You cannot effectively support everyone all the time. Recognize your limitations while continuing to contribute wherever you genuinely can. Sustainable generosity grows from balance rather than exhaustion. As your life becomes centered on creating value for others, you will notice something remarkable. Relationships become deeper because people experience consistency instead of self-interest. Opportunities increase because trust attracts responsibility. Conflicts become easier to resolve because mutual respect already exists. Even your own sense of purpose becomes stronger because your daily actions contribute to something beyond personal achievement. People rarely remember every conversation or every accomplishment. They remember how consistently you treated them. They remember whether your presence brought encouragement or discouragement, honesty or manipulation, peace or unnecessary conflict. Every interaction becomes part of the legacy you are creating. An effective person measures success not only by personal accomplishments, but also by the positive difference they make in the lives of others. Wealth, recognition, and professional achievements have value, but relationships give life its deepest meaning. Continue investing in people with patience, integrity, generosity, and respect. Offer your knowledge without arrogance. Share your time without resentment. Celebrate the progress of others without jealousy. Protect trust through honesty. Strengthen hope through encouragement. Build confidence through kindness. When your life consistently adds value wherever you go, meaningful relationships become one of your greatest strengths. They are built slowly through countless ordinary moments filled with sincerity, dependability, compassion, and thoughtful action. Those relationships become a lasting source of encouragement, wisdom, opportunity, and shared purpose. In serving others with a genuine heart, you discover that the greatest influence is never forced. It is earned through a lifetime of faithful actions that leave people stronger, more hopeful, and more confident because they had the privilege of knowing you. Chapter 10. Commit to lifelong growth through daily action and personal discipline. The person you become tomorrow is being shaped by the decisions you make today. Every action, every habit, every conversation, and every choice leaves a lasting mark on your character. Growth is not an event that happens once and then remains complete forever. It is a continuous journey that asks for your attention every day. An effective person never reaches a point where they believe there is nothing left to improve. Instead, they develop a lifelong commitment to becoming wiser, stronger, more dependable, and more useful with each passing year. Many people begin their personal development journey with excitement. They set ambitious goals, make detailed plans, and imagine dramatic changes happening quickly. At first, their motivation feels powerful. They work with energy because everything feels new and inspiring. Then ordinary life returns, responsibilities increase, unexpected challenges appear, progress becomes slower than expected. This is the moment when many people stop growing. They mistake temporary enthusiasm for lasting commitment. True growth is built on a different foundation. It continues even after excitement fades. It survives ordinary days, unexpected setbacks, and long periods where improvement seems almost invisible. This kind of commitment does not depend on emotional excitement. It depends on a clear decision to keep moving forward, regardless of changing circumstances. One of the greatest lessons you can learn is that daily actions always carry more influence than occasional extraordinary efforts. A single productive day cannot replace weeks of neglect. One inspiring conversation cannot compensate for months of avoiding responsibility. Real transformation happens through small actions repeated faithfully over long periods. These actions may seem insignificant while you are performing them, yet together they gradually reshape your life. Think about the person you hope to become in 5 or 10 years. Imagine the qualities you admire most. Perhaps you want to become calm under pressure, dependable in difficult situations, respected for your honesty, skilled in your profession, or known for your kindness. None of these qualities appear suddenly. They develop through repeated choices that slowly become part of your identity. Personal discipline is the bridge between your intentions and your reality. Good intentions alone do not change lives. Almost everyone wants better health, stronger relationships, greater confidence, meaningful work, and lasting peace of mind. The difference appears in what people choose to do every day. Discipline turns values into visible actions. It transforms hopes into habits and dreams into steady progress. Every morning gives you another opportunity to strengthen your character. The first decisions of the day often influence everything that follows. Choosing to begin with purpose instead of delay creates positive momentum. Completing meaningful work before becoming distracted builds confidence. Speaking respectfully to those around you shapes the atmosphere of your relationships. These choices may appear ordinary, but they quietly determine the direction of your life. Do not underestimate the power of consistency. Many people become discouraged because they expect dramatic results after only a short period of effort. They overlook the quiet strength found in steady improvement. Imagine becoming just a little wiser, a little healthier, a little more patient, or a little more skilled each day. Those small improvements continue accumulating long after temporary motivation disappears. A year of consistent effort often produces results that once seemed impossible. One important habit is regularly examining the direction of your life. Movement alone does not guarantee progress. You can remain busy while drifting away from what truly matters. Set aside time to reflect on your actions. Ask yourself whether your daily choices align with your deepest values. Consider whether your habits are leading you toward the person you hope to become. Honest reflection prevents small mistakes from becoming lifelong patterns. Growth also requires adaptability. Life will continue changing. New responsibilities will arrive. Unexpected opportunities will appear. Difficult seasons will test your patience and resilience. Personal discipline allows you to adjust without abandoning your principles. Flexible methods combined with steady values create lasting stability. You may need to change your approach, but never lose sight of the person you are committed to becoming. Never allow previous success to become an excuse for future comfort. Past achievements deserve appreciation, but they should never convince you that improvement is no longer necessary. Every accomplishment becomes a foundation for greater responsibility rather than a reason to stop learning. Stay grateful for how far you have come while remaining eager to discover how much further you can grow. Your habits deserve regular attention because they quietly shape your future. Some habits strengthen your mind, your relationships, your health, and your character. Others slowly weaken them without obvious warning. Periodically evaluate the routines that fill your days. Ask yourself whether each habit supports the life you truly want. If something no longer serves your growth, have the courage to replace it with something better. Discipline also means remaining faithful to your values when no immediate reward is visible. There will be times when honesty appears more difficult than convenience. Patience may seem slower than frustration. Kindness may receive little recognition. Continue choosing what is right, regardless of immediate results. Character grows strongest when your actions remain guided by principles instead of temporary outcomes. One valuable practice is setting meaningful standards instead of chasing perfection. Perfection often creates unnecessary pressure because it leaves no room for ordinary human mistakes. High standards encourage excellence while allowing space for learning. When you fall short, respond with honesty instead of self-condemnation. Correct your course, apply the lesson, and continue moving forward with renewed determination. Protect your sense of purpose carefully. Without purpose, discipline eventually feels like endless effort without direction. Remind yourself regularly why your growth matters. Perhaps you want to become a better parent, a stronger leader, a more dependable friend, or a person whose life creates positive change. Purpose gives meaning to daily effort because every small action becomes connected to something much larger than the present moment. Another important lesson is learning to appreciate progress without becoming satisfied too soon. Celebrate milestones with gratitude. Recognize the improvements you have already made. At the same time, remain humble enough to continue learning. Every new level of growth reveals additional opportunities to become wiser, more capable, and more compassionate. Your future relationships will benefit from your continued development. As your patience grows, conflicts become easier to resolve. As your wisdom deepens, your guidance becomes more valuable. As your integrity strengthens, trust develops naturally. Personal growth never benefits only one person. Its influence spreads into families, friendships, workplaces, and communities through the example you provide. There will always be reasons to postpone improvement. You may feel too busy, too tired, too discouraged, or too uncertain. Waiting for perfect conditions often becomes a lifelong habit. Instead, begin where you are with whatever resources you currently possess. One meaningful action today creates greater progress than endless plans postponed until tomorrow. Remember that discipline includes caring for every important area of your life. Continue strengthening your mind through reading and thoughtful reflection. Care for your body through healthy choices and regular movement. Invest in your relationships through attention and kindness. Protect your integrity through honest decisions. Balance creates resilience because no single area of life carries the entire weight of your well-being. Another valuable practice is welcoming accountability. Share important goals with trustworthy people who encourage growth and speak honestly when you lose direction. Accountability is not about surrendering responsibility. It is about creating support that strengthens your commitment during difficult seasons. Wise companions often notice strengths and weaknesses that remain hidden from your own perspective. As the years pass, measure your success by the quality of your character rather than the size of your achievements alone. Titles, possessions, and recognition may change throughout life. Character remains one of the few accomplishments that cannot be taken away by changing circumstances. Every disciplined decision contributes to a reputation built on honesty, reliability, courage, humility, and compassion. Remain teachable regardless of your experience. There will always be new ideas to consider, better methods to discover, and valuable lessons to learn from people of every age and background. Curiosity keeps your thinking fresh. Humility keeps your heart open. Together, they create lifelong growth that continues long after many others have stopped improving. Do not fear slow progress. Growth often happens quietly. You may not notice daily improvement because each step appears small. Yet when you look back after months or years of consistent effort, the difference becomes remarkable. The confidence you once lacked becomes natural. Skills that once seemed difficult become familiar. Challenges that once felt overwhelming become manageable because your character has grown stronger through steady practice. Leave behind the habit of measuring yourself only by external success. A meaningful life is also measured by your honesty during difficult moments, your willingness to keep learning, your consistency when no one is watching, and your determination to continue improving despite setbacks. These qualities create a lasting legacy because they influence everyone whose life you touch. Your greatest competition has never been another person. Your greatest responsibility is becoming a better version of yourself than you were yesterday. Each sunrise presents another opportunity to think more wisely, act more responsibly, love more generously, and serve more faithfully. No matter your age, background, or current circumstances, growth remains available as long as you remain willing to pursue it. When discouragement appears, remember how far consistent effort has already brought you. Every lesson learned, every habit strengthened, every fear faced, and every challenge overcome stands as evidence that change is possible. Let these experiences strengthen your confidence instead of allowing temporary setbacks to weaken your determination. One day people may remember your achievements, but they will remember your character even more. They will remember whether your presence brought stability during uncertainty, encouragement during difficulty, fairness during disagreement, and hope during challenging seasons. These qualities are not created by chance. They are developed through thousands of ordinary decisions, made with care and integrity. This journey never truly ends, and that is one of its greatest rewards. Every stage of life offers fresh opportunities to learn, contribute, and become more effective than before. Continue choosing growth over comfort, responsibility over excuses, patience over frustration, and purpose over distraction. Let every day become another opportunity to strengthen your mind, refine your character, deepen your wisdom, and improve your actions. An effective person is not someone who has reached perfection. An effective person is someone who refuses to stop becoming better. They understand that lasting success is not built in a single moment but through a lifetime of faithful decisions. Walk forward with confidence. Stay committed when progress feels slow. Continue acting with integrity, even when no one is watching. Keep learning, keep serving, keep improving, and keep moving toward the highest version of yourself. If you remain faithful to that commitment day after day and year after year, you will build a life defined not by temporary achievement, but by enduring character, meaningful contribution, and a legacy of steady growth that continues inspiring others long after your own journey has been completed.